So this video is how to thread the Brother overlock, the 1034D. It also applies to a lot of the other Brother machines. So the first thing, and I must say, pardon me with my terrible video camera skills. But anyway, this machine has some spools of thread on here. I would not recommend using those for several reasons. One is the thread quality isn't that good, and B, it's really expensive. I mean, one spool of thread has like what, 100 yards of thread on it, or 200 if you're lucky. If you can get for the same amount of money or a couple bucks more, you can get a cone thread, like a maxi lock cone thread, and that'll have 3,000 yards of thread on it. So it's much more economical and better quality. So a couple things to remember with a serger, and I'm just going to speak in general terms here. You have two needles, a right needle and a left needle, and two loopers, an upper looper and a lower looper. This is the lower looper. It goes from left to right, and the upper looper goes up and down, and they cross each other. And then these two needles, you can either use just the right needle or just the left needle, but most overlocking you're going to use both needles. One needle is a little bit higher than the other, and that's normal. One thing to always remember when you're threading these machines is you must thread the loopers before you thread the needles. So if one of the loopers becomes unthreaded, you need to unthread the needles and rethread the loopers and make sure they're gone before you do the upper ones. Otherwise it won't lock properly. So generally speaking, you always start with the upper looper, which in this machine is the green one. So you're going to thread 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take the thread that comes up directly above the spool over through the hole. And again, pardon my my camera skills here. I'm going to go through this guide here. Make sure that the thread goes down into, all the way into. You should feel the thread pull tight when you pull it. If you don't feel that tension, you're not getting it in between the discs. You can see it's just snapped out of the discs. If I just put the thread over the top, there's no tension. It just pulls easily because it's not snapped into the tensioner. So grab the thread on both sides and pull it straight down, and you'll feel it and hear it click into place, and then you'll feel tension. So we go from there. We're going to go underneath the 5. We're going to go underneath only this one that's got the green on it. Don't go underneath this one with this one. It's just from 5 underneath this one over the top of this. And this is what I do. I take the thread and I double it over itself, and I just give it a little twist, and the thread gets stiff like that. And you'll need a good pair of tweezers, and grab the thread with about maybe like a centimeter of thread. And then I put my finger on here to just keep my hand from wiggling around, and you just poke it through the eye of the upper looper. Like, I'm trying to do this and film at the same time. It's not easy. So I'm going to poke it through. There we go. Through the eye of the looper. If you noticed how that went through the eye of the looper. And then once it's through a little bit, just reach with your tweezers behind, grab the thread, pull it to the back, get all the thread back to the back, and make sure that it's not tangled on anything. And then double check your work. Make sure that it didn't inadvertently get caught up somewhere. And then you can just lift up the foot and put the thread underneath the presser foot, just like that. Next is the lower looper. So with the lower looper, that's this looper here, you'll notice that the lower looper goes to the left and then it goes to the right. So turn the hand wheel until the looper's all the way to its rightmost position, and then you've got this little slider that slides back and forth. So slide it all the way to the right, and you're going to hook the thread over that. So let's do that one now. You're going to take the thread from here, put it underneath the guide, make sure it goes all the way in the tensioner, down through number 4, through guide number 5, and this one you're going to put under both of this guide here and the other one. So make sure that it goes underneath both of them, over the top of this little guide here. See, it's just got a little hook there. And this is where you got to pay attention. This little hook, you see that little blue indicator, that blue arrow? You're going to hook the thread like this over the top of it, like that. Then once you do that, push this all the way back until it kind of clicks all the way to the left. And then without letting go of the thread, now we've got to get it through the eye of this looper. So hold the thread taut and then give it a little twist, and that'll make it stiff. Do it a little bit more. And then grab it with your tweezers so you have about 1 centimeter, and then carefully poke it through the eye of the looper, like that. I'm going to push this thread out of the way, and then grab it from behind and put it up and over this little groove in the upper looper. So again, it goes directly from the eye of the looper over the top of this thread and through the guide of that looper. If you don't know if you've done it right, then hold the threads to the back and turn the hand wheel a full rotation, and it will automatically slide where it needs to go. Once you get it in this position, then raise up the foot, put both of these 2 threads underneath the presser foot, and then lower the presser foot down. Next are the needles. You're going to take the thread from the top here, just like the others, slide it through guide number 2, through the tensioner, down number 4, over here, and up around here, through the guide. Snip the thread so you have a nice blunt edge. And again, take the thread about 1 centimeter from the end and carefully put it through the eye of the right needle, just like that. And then grab it from behind, pull it back, make sure it doesn't get hooked up on anything, that it's, straight. There we go. It's right over that. Goes through the eye of the needle. And again, it's going to go underneath the foot, but we'll do the other one first, so we'll do it at the same time. So through guide number 2, pull it tight through the tensioner, underneath, over the top, through the guide. If those get a little tangled, don't worry too much about it. They'll sort themselves out. Nice blunt edge with your sharp scissors. Grab it with about 1 centimeter, and then through the eye of the left needle, like that. Pull it through, and get our threads there. Okay, so everything's pointed back there. Lift up the presser foot. I'm going to tuck those underneath the foot. So all 4 threads now are headed for the same direction. And you can just lower the presser foot down. Make sure you don't have any threads sitting there. Close the lid. On the side, you want to make sure that your stitch width is at 5 or thereabouts. Your stitch length is at 3. And that the differential feed setting is set at 1.0. So this one's one click off. So at this point, you should be able to just hit the gas, make sure that the presser foot is down, and it should make a nice, whoops, my threads did not get underneath the foot there. So when you chain, always chain to the back. Don't pull it to the side because you'll break this needle plate and then you'll have to buy a new one and it can do damage. So at this point, the machine is ready for just, you can either just push the fabric in, or you can lift it up here and stick it underneath a little bit, but you can just stick the fabric right in there. Chain to the back. When you've got several inches, just clip it off, and there you go.